welcome to this week's edition of Let Us Reason Together Sunday edition. We also have a Monday edition and a Friday edition here on lambnetwork.tv that I encourage you all to check out. Those also Let Us Reason, because Let Us Reason is a production of lambnetwork.tv. And we've been going on for, oh my goodness, just before, I don't remember how long. It's been 5 years, maybe a little bit more than 5 years. Actually, I think it was just before 2000. It was like 1999. I think not 2000. What is the 2019?
How long we've been on lambnetwork.tv?
No. How long Let Us Reason has
Let
been.
Us Reason. Oh, yeah.
Has been on.
Oh, yeah.
This is a production. This is the original here. And then we've had some ones that were, offshoots, to try to fill up the week. And it's been wonderful. So, yeah, I think it was actually on audio back in 2019. And then we went to video late 2019 and today. So, and we're excited to be here, and it's welcome. So it's welcome to all of you that are here with us today. We are just so thankful that you are joining us. And this is a show that's more of a kind of a talk show in a sense, dialogue, opinion, what we want to, discuss with the Word of God, with the news of the day, and basically what's on our minds at this point. So, and we find that iron sharpens iron when that happens, when we're all engaged in the topics that come about. The title of Let Us Reason Together comes from the book of Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 18. Come now, let us reason together, says Yahweh. Though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they are red like crimson, they shall be as wool. Hallelujah. Great chapter, though. That's a great, that was chapter 1, verse 18. But, the whole chapter is just a phenomenal chapter.
One of my faves.
I know. And you always want me to read the whole thing.
I do. I love the whole thing. Yes.
So today is the 27th day of Tishri. We hope you had a wonderful Sukkot that just passed by this past week. And we are just so thankful for that time of being in the presence of the Father on Sukkot, and now coming into this new cycle once again that last week we started with Bereshit. This week we're in Noach, and we are I don't know. I just love these times of going from one book to another, but then also going from the end of the Torah, what we call the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, to the first book, Genesis, Bereshit, and starting it all over again. There are cycles of righteousness, and then and as we're reading these, we're going through Shabbat every day, and we're going through all the 7 feasts of Yahweh every year. Those cycles of righteousness, as it talks about.
We need it. I mean, to me, it's divinely orchestrated. We all need to have that constant enlightenment, because that's what happens when you start embracing the divine word. It enlightens your heart. It enlightens your every cell and every fiber of your being.
Yes.
And so we need it. It's one of those things needed. We're not needy. We're needed to have those divine words working in our life. Yes.
I agree. Totally. Just looking for something here. Is that what I'm looking for? Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Good. Just again, I just want to have it ready. Because it's been busy. The last weeks, and so and you're hearing all these things and all this vitriol and all this violence and and you see the Middle East supposed ceasefire on the path to peace, whatever that means. Again, I say this all the time, but this is such a true statement that Golda Meir, the the first woman prime minister of Israel, said in 1948 when there was a declaration of the state of Israel, and the UN voted on it. But I think even before, I can't remember when she said it, before or after the vote, she said that if the Arabs love their children more than they hate the Jews, there would be peace. That is a powerful statement. That is a very, very powerful statement. And we even see that here in this country. I mean, there's just so much vitriol. There's so much garbage going on with all these people that are breaking the law and trying to, and then the law enforcement is trying to fulfill the law, and keep the law, and do what is lawful. If someone is breaking the law, they should be prosecuted. But now in this day and age, we see that oh no, they're our neighbors, they're this, they're that, they're whatever, and but yet they broke the law, and by coming into this country illegally. I mean, I don't care what your intentions are per se. I thought that one of the best things that the Trump administration did in the beginning was give those who broke into this country illegally an option, saying we'll get you, we'll fly you back free of charge. We'll give you $1,000, I think they said, and if you want to come back in the legal route, because all the port of entries are still functioning. I mean, I know people may not think that, but they're functioning, and that's we still bring in a million legal immigrants every year. Why? They come in the right way. They come in through the port of entry. They fill out all the paperwork. They meet with the peoples when they have to meet. They whatever it takes. They work. They pay taxes, and whatever it may be. And eventually, they have the option, or the opportunity, I should say, not even the option, the opportunity to become American citizens.
Yeah, we met a really sweet lady. We've known her for quite a while. She's a waitress, and we met this lady probably, I'm going to say, probably at least a year ago, if not longer. And I remember the first time I spoke with her, I asked her if she had gotten her citizenship with our country, because I know she was from originally from Mexico, and she had a husband and 2 children. And so I asked her, did you get your citizenship yet? And she said, not yet. And she said, but I'm going to, but not yet. So that was about a year ago. I'll say maybe 8 months ago. I don't know how long ago it was, but just recently she told us, I'm going for my citizenship. My husband and I are going for our citizenship. She ran over to us and told us that when we went to this restaurant, and she was so excited. So we had a wonderful conversation about the citizenship and how she's doing the right thing. And she was really excited. James gave her some quizzes.
Oh boy, did I quizzed her on the Constitution and America and all the different things. I mean, because things that would probably be on the, I don't even know what's on the test, but
yeah,
it was fun.
It was fun. It was fun, and she enjoyed it.
Most of them.
Yeah, and she enjoyed it, and she just enjoyed us encouraging her, and anyhow, it was a beautiful discussion. It was and it's a beautiful relationship, and we have these kind of discussions, and you hear me say this all the time, and I know I sound like a broken record, but it's so important to talk to people. And to talk to people about certain things that really have an impact on their life and the lives of their children. Actually, their children were very supportive of her and her husband getting the citizenship, going through the process. So it was just refreshing to hear that kind of conversation. It was just And we talked to her for a good, I'm going to say at least 45 minutes, almost an hour, because we were just very, very encouraged by her choice and her husband's choice, and interested in hearing our concept of some of the aspects of the uh, the testing, but also just the relationship between her and United States of America. So I just felt there was just a sense of liberty when we were talking to her. That's what I felt. I just felt liberty.
And it's interesting too, because when you talk to foreigners who grew up in a different country, different place, they have a different perspective. Well, the ones that come in legally, the ones that want to be here and want to make a difference and contribute to this society. I remember back when I was working for that company, a few, I don't know that I worked most of my life with. And I was it was in the warehouse office. That's where my office was, and there was this Vietnamese young lady who was married to a Vietnamese guy, and had two beautiful children. But but she was still from, I mean, uh, her origin was Vietnam, and she was still a Vietnamese citizen per se. But she was trying to become an American citizen. She really wanted to be an American citizen, have her children become American citizens, and whatnot. And it was, and I didn't even know that she was going through the process totally. And then one morning I came in, and her whole cube was decked out in American flags, American flag balloons, confetti, and all the different things. And I don't even know who did it, but she was so excited that she passed the test and became an American citizen. And she was a hard worker, very hard worker. So I just think it's, because I think a lot of Americans that are natural born Americans have lost the fervor, and they lost the excitement of what this country is. Especially now, we're in 250 years. We're in the 250th year of this country since 1776. And if you could do like a man in the street, or a youth in the street, whatever, but anybody really under 30 years old, or probably even 40 years old at this point, and you ask them simple questions about America, the history, how it's formed, how is the government shaped, what are the parts of the government, what is the First Amendment, what is the Second Amendment, do you know these things, do you know anything about, where's the power, how many branches do we have, and all these different simple things, who was the first president of the United States, and a lot of people will not know, and that's sad to me.
I'll never forget when I found my Jewish family, and my one of my cousins gave me a booklet of my grandmother and grandfather's testimony of when they came over to America. And it was amazing because the whole booklet was explaining we had to wait a long time before they got approved, for one thing. But then they started sharing. I wanted to come here because I wanted to start a family. And my grandfather came when he was about a teenager, but I'm going to say maybe 18 years old. He escaped Russia and came over, and then applied for his citizenship. And my grandmother said, we want to build a family. We want to have a business. We want to have life, and we want to have life where we have liberty. We're not going to be afraid of the way that people are going to treat us. I'm paraphrasing, but it just really it broke my heart in a good way. It showed me that coming in the right way builds character and integrity, not just for the families that have crossed over and come in the right way, but for the rest of the people that live in the United States of America. There's a we become family. You know, we become connected with a divine purpose. I want to raise a family, and there's Brad Scott again. I want to raise a family. I want a home. I want to grow. What was the other one that it was? Raise a family, have a home,
in the land.
in the land.
Yeah.
And so, and that's not something that is fabricated.
Mm-mm.
That's from the Father.
Yeah.
That's from our Heavenly Father. That's exactly what He wants for us. You know, that we have a family, we have a home, and we can provide for that family and that home land, you know. And so anyhow, I'm excited, you know, and there's ways for everybody to learn what the rules and regulations and why we do what we do. That's what I love about the Constitution, that it gives the why, not just the how.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do we do what we do?
Mm.
And that's, to me, is very important. If you know the why, the how becomes so much easier.
Mm.
And so I encourage people. You know, I never forget, Mark David Smith did a whole series on the Constitution,
yeah.
and I joined him a couple of times,
Yeah.
and I loved it. I found it very inspiring, challenging. I mean, there were things in it that challenged my thought process, because there were some of these laws I never even heard of, to tell you the truth. But when you break it down, you understand the reason why they are instituted in the Constitution.
Yes,
So
yes. No, and it's so true that is so potent, because you know, unfortunately, we don't understand and we don't know a lot about all the background of these beautiful United States of America. You know, we don't have a real concept of the Constitution. We don't have a concept of the Bill of Rights. We don't have a concept of the Declaration of Independence, why that was done. Why the colonies went and fought against Britain. I mean, the biggest and most powerful country in the world at that time. I mean, nobody was bigger than Britain at that time. And the King of Britain ruled over, from afar, but ruled over America, and had governors or viceroys, or whatever they called themselves, mostly governors, I think, that were appointed by the king to rule over the provinces of America. But they had no concept of this country and what it was growing into, and creating laws. And this is very interesting, because this just came to me. You know, creating laws, rules, regulations that have really nothing to do with the people, except for developing more power, more money for the kingdom. And that was at the hands of the governors and all the appointed officials that the king did. Think about it today. Think about it today. You know, because yesterday there was a No Kings rally, like in I don't know how many places, a lot of places, and they're accusing President Trump of being a king and all that. Well, the issue is that he is not a king. Obviously, that is just obvious. How do I know that? Well, the government, if you didn't know, is closed. It's shut down. Who shut the government down? Well, it was the Democrats that shut the government down, because they wanted to add more money, more taxes, more spending on the issue of that, instead of what they call the clean continuing resolution, which is basically keeping enough money in there just to keep the government going until, and I think at this time it was like November 21st. So, but you know, Schumer and the others could not deal with that, and only, I think there's like maybe three, Yeah, I think it's three or four Democrats that actually did vote with the Republicans in this. But is this a kind of taxation, if you will, without representation? That was one of the biggest things that the colonies fought against, because they saw a aloof government ruling over them, implementing and putting in taxes and levies and tariffs and all the different things, whatever it was, that the colonies did not have any say over. Do we really have a say over what the Congress is doing? Congress, the Senate, and at this point, I would have to say no, because, and I don't know why. I mean, it might be because people are just so distant and not caring. Either they don't vote, or they just lazily vote for whoever the incumbent is, type of thing, and not even thinking about what he does and what he's voted for and what he's, and how he's made their lives probably more miserable. I keep on hearing this, there's a big governor's race in New Jersey. And I hope and pray that the Republican gets in, because it was funny, because I heard the candidate, is the woman candidate for governor, on the Democrat side. Can I say that? Democrat? Oh, I did say it. On that side, and all I heard her say was, the prices are too high, and we're being flooded, and the middle class is being washed out, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, you said that, and you can say whatever you want to say, but as a voter, if I was a voter in New Jersey, I'd be looking at it and saying, okay, you've had now a Democratic governor, Murphy, for 8 years. And you had him through the first Trump administration. You had him through the Biden administration. Of course, if it was the Democrat and then Biden, I mean, it should be a whole lot better. And you should be riding the coattails of Biden into this, right? Right? No. She's saying that the New Jersey economy is a mess. That's basically what she's saying. And I'm like, like gas prices are too high, or she didn't even mention what was too high. She just said prices were too high. Well, on the average, gas prices are much lower than they were. Grocery prices are better than they were. I mean, when you have 14 or whatever it was up to like 9%. See, people don't understand how inflation works, and I don't completely grasp it all, but you have, when you go from 1.5% or 1.8% when Trump left the first time, and then you go all the way up to like 9% inflation, though it comes back down, does that mean the 9% that prices that went up are the same? No. It was interesting, because they don't come down. They come down a little bit, but they don't come down 9% or a 7% or whatever it was, back to where the inflation rate is around 2%, 2.2, 2.3, whatever it is now. So things now won't go up very, very much. But when it goes up that high, it usually stays that high. Case in point, COVID and then the inflation and all that kind of stuff that after that took place. I remember buying bleach. Simpler, bleach. But bleach got very popular during COVID, And I remember buying, like a brand name generic from the grocery store, a gallon, and it was $1.50. $1.50 for that gallon. Some of the Clorox and other brand names were, more like $3 or $3.50 or whatever it was. But this brand name was $1.50. You try to buy, for one thing, you can't even get a gallon of this anymore. You can't. It goes down. That's one way they try to fool you. They say, "Oh, the price didn't go up." Oh, yeah, but the size of the bottle went down. So instead of having 64 ounces, it's now, 42 ounces or something like that, or whatever it is. It's a smaller bottle, and that bottle costs almost $5. And it was up to like $7. It was up to like $7, but it's gone down to about $5 now. But it's never gone back down to $1.50. I'm waiting for the $1.50. I'm not going to buy another thing of bleach until it goes down to no. But and it's like crazy. It is crazy that
it's interesting to evaluate the economics, because the economics really is a thermometer. It is definitely a scale that you can judge what's going on. You really can judge what's going on, and some people just take it for granted. I mean, I've grabbed that bleach bottle a lot to tell you the truth, and not like you. I say I need this bleach. I need to have this bleach. Using bleach for various things, but you're right. You're right, and some things just stay there. They just now. Why is that they settle there? I mean, even if things change economically, in things change, things get better, and certain things that normally would cause the rise of economy. Why is it that it's such a difficult thing for it to go down?
Well, because once they get to a certain point, they don't want to go below that certain point, because they get profits. And now, do I think that $1.50 bleach is probably a little bit more expensive today? I would have to probably say yes to a certain point. But again, the bottle went down from a gallon bottle, the normal one that you normally buy, that gallon, down to like 40 whatever ounces, 48 ounces or whatever it is. So you don't get the full gallon. It's like whatever it is, a gallon, 3/4 of a gallon or whatever it is. And it stays, to a certain point. But one, COVID basically wiped out all of that stuff, right? Because during the COVID, right, in the first year of COVID, you couldn't even buy bleach. All the shelves were bare with bleach. You could hardly find sanitizer, and if you did, it cost you a lot more than what it used to cost, and all that kind of stuff. All right, but the COVID is one thing. But now we went over COVID, and then unfortunately you had a new administration that had no clue about economics, and and in COVID, America started spending $2 trillion more than we bring in. $2 trillion. Now, all right, and you say, okay, well, that was COVID, right? So all right, if that's a one timer, for the couple of years that it happened, all right, so be it. We could probably deal with it. But today, they're still spending $2 trillion more than we bring in about 4 something trillion a year in taxes, and they're spending about 6+ trillion, maybe 7 trillion. So it's like 4.5 trillion we bring in, and they spend like 7.5 trillion. The rough numbers. So where are we getting that extra 2 trillion? And what does that extra 2 trillion do to the economy? We're not getting it through revenue. We're not getting it through taxes and sales and all that kind of stuff. Where it's being totally consumed and printed. We're printing money, so the dollar value goes down. The strength of the dollar goes down. Then you have these countries like China and South America doing the BRICS currency, trying to wipe out the dollar. One of the biggest things that I blame Nixon for this one is that I think it was Nixon, but I'm pretty sure it was, that he got us off the gold standard. We should have stayed on the gold standard, but it's difficult to spend more money when you have a cap. If you only have $4 trillion or $5 trillion in gold currency, gold reserves, you can only spend that. You can't spend more. And in the whole 9 yards. So it's been a fiasco. It's been a mess. We're $38 trillion in debt. How does a country sustain that? I don't even know why we'd all talk about how it all came to this way, but it's something that needs to be talked about. No one ever talks about it. I mean, very seldom.
But the thing is, we do hear some people talking about lately. We have somebody in office that does discuss the financial situation. But when you break it down to different products, that to me, that resonates in a lot of people, especially people who do the shopping. When you think about it, because a lot of people just they very few people, like if you're going into a supermarket and you have you know that you're going to go for a certain product, you go for the certain product. Very
Right.
few people scrutinize. I mean especially with bleach, you think bleach, they were giving this away when I bought it before, and now it's they're not giving it away. I mean, I'm using that exaggerated, but the thing is, it's so. Let me ask you. So who is the one that makes the decision regarding i.e. bleach?
No, it's a market, actually. I mean,
So the market, but who oversees the market?
well, it's a free market, so there's nobody per se over. Obviously there's government agencies,
But can different
that
stores
watch
change
because
the
of
price?
gouging and
But
things like
can
that.
different stores, if they want to, bring the price down?
Well, it depends on what
Do they have the liberty for
they could-
bleach? Let's just say bleach.
Yeah, they could do whatever they want, except that they have to look at their profits. And if a thing of bleach costs $2, they can't sell it for $1.50 because they'd lose money. And they're not in the business to lose money. So if it costs them $2 to get the bleach from the wholesaler, they have to look at, all right, how much should we sell this for? It's a very popular commodity, so more supply and demand. If there's a lot of demand for bleach, then they could sell it. Even though it might cost $2, they could sell it for $4 or $5 or $6. Where other products, they may have to take a bigger slim margin, or put things on sale and potentially sell it for under cost, just because they want to get people there to buy the bleach or buy this or buy these other high ticket items. So eggs is
another one.
But eggs was a different story.
Eggs went down though.
Yeah, they went down, but they didn't go down yet to where they were.
Yeah.
They were. I mean, we were buying a box of organic 18 eggs in a box. Before all this happened, we were buying them for like $5 plus. Now we're paying $7 plus. At one point, we were spending $9 plus for these same eggs. Now, the egg situation was a different story because the so-called bird flu came in, and the Biden administration destroyed like 1.5 million chickens.
I know, which was not necessary.
Yeah, no, I myself could have proven that these birds did not have bird flu. I could have easily, if they asked me. Nobody asked me. Why don't they ask me? I would. What I would have done. This is what I would have done. Is I would have wanted to. Where do you think it is? Okay, this little coop here. Okay, let me go in that coop.
I would sneezing.
No. I would grab a chicken and I would throw him up in the air. And if he came down, definitely not bird flu. Bird did not flew.
He did not fly.
Did not fly. So so those birds did not have bird flu. They should not have been destroyed.
I wish I knew. You should have brought that to the main house. You should have brought that. Is too funny. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I'm telling you. But that's when President Trump got into office, they certainly did do a good job in bringing those prices down. I mean, even they're a lot down than they were before. And inflation right now is around 2 point something %. manageable, but still, gas prices here in Massachusetts are very good. Actually, they're very good. They're averaging around 275. You know, I'd like to see it around 250 personally. That's always been my little thing. I mean, I'd like to see it lower. I mean, when the first Trump administration happened, I mean, we were paying like $1.95, $1.99 for gas here toward the end, and it was great. It was great. That was before COVID. It was. I think we even paid a little less than that during COVID. But where were we going to drive? Nothing was open. You know, but so anyway, that's the kind of thing that we're kind of looking at here. I think we get elections coming up in November. This November, 2025. Pray for New York because they're going totally nuts with the mayoral candidate on the Democratic side, Mandami, who is a Marxist. He's not a socialist; he's a Marxist. Marxist, which basically is a communist, and so that's who he is. That's what he is. He doesn't really. He's very anti-Semitic. Is very interested in globalizing Intifada and the whole nine yards. So, one other thing or two, since I'm talking about anti-Semitism and remember all those pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas rallies that took place and was really, really in force. It's interesting. Last week, President Trump negotiated a ceasefire leading into some sort of peace situation. I don't know how long that's going to last. Sounds like it may not even have lasted. May have at least something happened today, and I haven't seen it yet. But that Israel bombed Gaza today. That's what it sounds like. I don't know enough about it because I haven't seen it yet because we were on these shows. But during that time, you did not hear a peep out of any of these colleges, any of these organizations regarding peace or ceasefire. They never mentioned it. Oh, why? When the war was going on, they were crazy. Oh, infanticides and whatever they call it, genocide, and loving on those Arab terrorists. Woohoo! I mean, they were big time on it, but yet now crickets. I wish I had the cricket sound. I used to have the cricket sound. I love that cricket sound. I miss that cricket sound.
Get it back.
I got to get that cricket sound back because that was an awesome little sound because that's what usually happens. They say, "Oh, we can't talk about that because that's like good news for President Trump." Whew. Oh, you can't do that. But people are not being harassed or bombed or on both sides. Yet crickets. I can't do a cricket sound. Cricket. But anyway, all right. So that's my little soapbox for today.
Well, it's a good one because it definitely brings light into the subject that is very dark right now.
Yeah.
We really have a lot of darkness that is trying to overtake the light.
We do.
And that's what we have to make sure that we stay connected with the light of the word and don't allow the darkness to overpower us. And because it's, personally, James, we've been around the block a few times, many times, and we've been around the block with a lot of different situations in our life. I mean, a lot of situations where we did what we had to do, and I'm going way back 40 some odd years. We did what we had to do. We did it to the best of our ability. We worked hard. We continued to persevere, and we made things happen. We just persevered, and I believe that is part of what is necessary during these kind of times. We just have to keep pressing on, persevering, keeping, my mother used to say, keep a lip up a stiff, stiff up a lip. Yeah, keep a stiff upper lip. And and she was a perseverer. She would persevere.
She was.
And she was amazing. I mean, she went through so much. And so you learn endurance. And I think that's what we all go through on this journey of life, is endurance.
Yeah.
And it takes courage, it takes wisdom, but one thing it takes too is to persevere. Don't stop, don't give up. You're going to make it. Things are going to happen. And if we persevere, and if we pray, and if we seek the Father's face, seek his kingdom, seek his righteousness, do what's right in his eyes, all things work together for good to those who love the Lord and are called according to his holy purpose. If you love the Lord, you're going to serve the Lord. If you love the Lord and you're called according to his holy purpose, he's with us.
Yeah.
And we just have to do that, and even though, we may see things, we may see things that the world system is embracing, but we're of the kingdom.
We are.
And that's where we have to, the Father always supplied our needs. He always supplies our needs, but we have to stay in that sphere of, we're of the kingdom. We're not of the world system.
Amen. Amen. All right. I had a couple of other things that I was going to do. Is if we have time, we can do a little bit of the news thing, but I'd rather talk about the scripture.
Okay.
All right. So I'd rather talk about that, and I think I want to introduce it with our intro. I like this intro, and then we'll talk about this scriptures, Luke 17:20 through 27. So we'll be right back. His word reveal, the message unfold. As we seek his will, it's gonna unfold. His presence is near, his presence is near, and we can hear. Listen with all of your heart. Great expectancy, why are we here? What is the plan? Who are we waiting for? Great expectancy, why are we here? When and where is the door? Is it my plan? Or is it his plan? Is it for us to know? And how will it be told? Abba will impart the truth to your heart. Listen and obey.
Obedience is required.
Great expectancy, why are we here? What is the plan? Who are we waiting for? Great expectancy, why are we here? When and where is the door? When and where is the door? When and where is the door? Listen and obey. His word, his word with all of your heart. Listen, listen, and obey the truth, the truth. All right, I just wanted to play that little excerpt from yesterday's Torah study among friends. That's the song that AviGayle and I wrote. AviGayle did the lyrics on that, and I did the music, and that was during our praise and worship. So I just wanted, because we wanted to talk about that. It's interesting because we're going to talk about Luke 17 verses 20 through 27. I talked to AviGayle about this yesterday, and she said, "Boy, that just." It really resonates in the song that we had written. So let's read this and let's see how that kind of comes into play with it. But again, the chorus of this is great expectancy. Why are we here? A good question. What is the plan? Another good question. Who are we waiting for? Another good question. Great expectancy. Why are we here? We said it a second time. When and where is the door? And that's based on the coming of Messiah, Yeshua, the Messiah. And then it says, His word revealed, the message unfold. His word revealed. That galut, the revealing, the exiles, the word, that stone rolling, you're turning it over and then turning it over and turning it over, and every time you turn the stone over, you see something different. The world that's underneath that stone. Remember, as children, we used to take that stone and move that stone. And what do you see under? You see all these little insects and creeping creatures and crawly things and all that kind of stuff. Because what happened? The light exposed them, and they all started scattering to dig deeper into the soil or to get away from the light. So when we read that, because His presence is near and we can hear, we need to listen, search with all of our hearts. So in Luke 17, verses 20 through 21, it says, And having been asked by the Pharisees when the reign of Elohim would come, he answered and said to them, The reign of Elohim does not come with intent watching, nor shall they say, Look here, or look there. For look, the reign of Elohim is in your midst. And he said to the taught ones, Days shall come when you shall long to see one of the days of the Son of Adam, but you shall not see it. And they shall say to you, Look here, or look there. Do not go after them, nor follow. For as the lightning that flashes out of the part under heaven, one part of the heaven, shines to the other part under heaven, so also the Son of Adam shall be in his day. But first he has to suffer much and be rejected by this generation. And as it came to be in the days of Noah, so also shall it be in the days of the Son of Adam. They were eating, they were drinking, they were marrying, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah went into the ark and the flood came and destroyed them all. Wow. That's a very, very powerful statement. And as I read that to AviGayle yesterday, she just said, that sounds so much like the song that we wrote, Great Expectancy. Because it does. It's revealing, because you see this, and you see in this today. You're seeing what's going on here today. That people are looking and they're searching this and that and the other thing. But the kingdom of Elohim is here. It's here. now. Toward the end of Deuteronomy, I loved it, and if I thought about it, I would have put it up. But it talks about that the word is near you. Do not say, who will go up into the heavens for us to bring the word down, to bring the Torah down, or who will go across the sea to bring back the Torah, or who will, basically go in the depths of the earth to bring back the Torah. He said, it's not that hard. It's near you. It's in your mouth and in your heart. The kingdom of Elohim is here. So bring forth because I was enjoying what you were saying.
Well, I mean, it's just I know the Father kissed us with this song because it was a song that the Father spoke to me and said, "Have great expectancy concerning the Feast of Tabernacles, Sukkot." And so I said, James, that has to be the title of the next song we write. And then the Father opened it up even more. And it's a fact. We're living, we live in a life where we do have great expectancy. We're many of us are wondering, when is the Lord going to return? We hear a lot of people say, Bo Yeshua, Bo Yeshua. They say it a lot. And it's true, Bo Yeshua, Bo Yeshua. But the timing is in the Lord's hands. And it's in the Lord's hands. But guess what? It also has a lot to do with us. I believe that we are part of the preparation, if you will. We're part of the preparation because when you read the scriptures, you see that the disciples, number one, they had to get their act together. They needed to change. The disciples, Yeshua was teaching them how to walk according to the will of the Father. And there was a lot of change that had to take place in their thinking, in their attitude. And it's the same with us. There's a lot of change that has to take place in our thinking, in our attitude, how we live our life. What do we deem as important? What are we looking for? Where are we going? What do we put at the top of the list of things that we need to do? So to me, it's a life. It's called preparing our life. Every single one of us, we're in preparation of the return. And it goes back to the 10 virgins. That's another wonderful message in the 10 virgins. 5 of them were prepared.
That's right.
Five of them had the oil in their lamps, and they were prepared to enter into the door to be with Yeshua. The other 5 did not have their oil in the lamps. So we have to ask ourselves individually, how am I preparing? And each person has different experiences. Each person has different thoughts. I mean, James and I can sit down and talk to one another, and we've been together over 40 years, 48 years, and knowing each other very well. But we can have conversations, and we can have a different perspective of certain things. And we can talk and reason together. That's why this is a great broadcast. Let us reason together, says the Lord. Let us reason together with him. Because if we don't reason together with his divine word, we're going to be on a treadmill of just going nowhere fast. And that to me is what this message is all about. Preparing for his return. Preparation for his return. And preparation for his return is just that. It's individual preparation. This whole message was talking to individuals of what's going on. Each individual has an anticipation, and then when the day happened for Yeshua to have to surrender his life, that was a step in the right direction for him. I mean, first he said, "Oh, Father, please take this cup from me if you can." And then right away he said, "No, no, 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 not my will be done, but your will be done in me." So even Yeshua had to go through, listen, listen and obey. Because he was ready to say, "Oh no, I don't want, can you take this cup from me?" And then right away he knew that he was part of the preparation. And so this to me is again, it has to do with what's our attitude, why are we here, what are we waiting for? We're not needy, we're needed for such a time as this. We have a divine purpose, and but it's a lifestyle, and none of us have arrived. We're still on this journey. And I tell you, it kind of reminds me of, I wrote a book called Born for Restoration, and the gist of the book had to do with me being in search of my father. I was in search of my father for a long time, and I kept searching and searching and looking, and I didn't find him. And then finally, it was 50 years actually. Finally, a woman said to me, "Have you ever tried this particular agency that you can search for people that you haven't seen?" And I said, "No, I never did." So anyhow, I took her advice, and I put the request in, and in less than I think it was less than a was it a month that it happened? I think it was a month that
It
it
was
happened. I think it was less, maybe less than a month, that I got a response. But if that was 50 years of me searching. So what makes us think that there's not going to be a time span concerning the return of Yeshua and the preparation for us to be ready for that return? We want to be ready for that return. We want to have our hearts right. We want to have our minds right. We want to have our attitudes right. We want to have fulfilled this. For example, just say that there were people that you could reach out to, that you don't even know you can reach out to them. You don't even know they exist yet. But the Father says, now that I see that your heart is right, now that I see that you are yielding to the divine call that I have put in your heart, they can put people in your path to have conversation with them, and that can bring about a destiny of a change in your own life.
Yeah.
So it's all about the journey,
Right. And it's all about being vigilant.
Yeah.
I mean, because you mentioned that word today.
I mentioned it a lot.
I know. This is very true. But I'm just thinking of today because it's just something that I just lost my train of thought. But because I know we cannot be. We can be, but we should not be deceived in our time. There's a lot of voices going on, a lot of white noise, a lot of things that are distractions that are going on in society today. That's why we need to be planted in His Torah and understanding His instructions for our lives. It's interesting. I just mentioned this quickly because this is one of the things we were going to talk about, but I'm not going to talk about it all. But I saw an article, and it was talking about Donald Trump, and this was the title of Donald Trump, our first Old Testament president. Now, it's an interesting title. It's a mostly pro President Trump article. And there was one thing in it because they was talking about the presidential authority, and that comes up, and due process and all this kind of stuff. So, and he just kind of put out a warning. This author, and it was from who was it from anyway? Oh, Real Clear Politics was the author, Jay Pader Zane. This is October 18th, 2025. And I'm just going to read the last paragraph of it for now, and it might get into some of it. But it says, there is a danger, and it's talking about the presidential authority. Trump's vigorous use of presidential authority to restore order could be cited by his successors to justify misguided and divisive policies, such as demanding that biological males be allowed to play in women's sports, or that people be judged by the color of their skin rather than the content of their character. But fear of the future is not reason enough for Trump to allow wrongdoers to go unchecked. And he ends it by saying, sometimes we need vengeance. Now, that paragraph just kind of jumped out at me because it says, the presidential's authority to restore order. All right, so why does the president have to step in to restore order? Well, because there is disorder. All right, and if there's disorder, the citizens of the United States, who really don't have a say too much, they do have a say if they got their act together, and in these cities, it's mostly cities that have the violence problems and coming up, and all the illegal immigrants and all that kind of stuff. That's mostly where all the action is taking place. But why does the president have to authorize and restore order? And I looked at that. I said, it's because the local politicians and leaders, and then even sometimes, I mean, they have to. Police departments usually have to do, which is weird. I don't know, but I'd have to look into this a little bit more. Do what the mayor, the governor would say. If they say, stand back, usually they have to do that. We've seen that in Minneapolis. We've seen that in Chicago. Although I think Chicago's starting to, the police department is starting to really kind of do their thing. But the politicians are not doing their jobs and allowing lawlessness. So you have, and again, are all these people that cross the border illegal immigrants? Well, yeah, and they're criminals. And I don't say that lightly, and I don't say that as just the way of saying it. You're looking at it and saying that they crossed into this United States. We have federal laws that saying you cannot enter into the United States without permission, without going through the process. And when you had 15 million or whatever the number was, 10 million migrants coming up and crashing the border, and an administration that wasn't doing their jobs and allowing the lawlessness to happen, you start losing all these people that are coming in. You don't know where they are. You don't know where do they have papers? Do they not have papers? Are they meeting their obligations by going to a court and going through the process afterwards? Because a lot of them that do get in, they was just saying, send them up a court date and then just release them into the United States of America, and then they'll come back to the court. Well, guess what? 90% or more did not make it to the court dates and all that, and so they are in the country. So now the question is, where are they? How do you find them? And why isn't places like Chicago, places like Atlanta, places like Boston, places like LA and Portland and Seattle and all the other major blue cities in this country not doing their job? You see the recklessness of it. They were eating, they were drinking, they were marrying, and they were given in marriage until the day Noah went into the ark and the flood came and destroyed them all. Well, that kind of similar thing is going to happen once Yeshua comes back. There's going to be a reckoning that takes place. We saw it in Isaiah during Sukkot, where all the peoples, all the nations will come against Israel. And you see it today with, I'm sure that all those people that are doing those pro-Hamas rallies, which are just complete idiots, they're not all legal, I'm sure. They've all been paid, they're all been trained, and they're just doing what is totally lawless in this country, and we see it here in a small venue, and you have all the countries, all the nations coming up against Israel, and you see even today with what's going on.
Well, we wrote a song just recently called Great Expectancy.
Mm.
And if we stick with the song, if we stick with the kingdom understanding as opposed to the world system, see what you just expressed was the world system, but in Luke is the kingdom system,
Exactly.
and there's the difference. So why would we think that the world system is going to be like the kingdom system?
It's not.
So the question is this then. If people would understand, and that's why I think that this message in Luke is so valuable, because it really does express, and I even mentioned, and I'm happy because they actually mentioned it in here too. I said that there was a situation with Yeshua when it was time for him, and they caught him, and they were going to sacrifice him. He said to the Father, no, not my will be done. No, first he said, Father, if it's your will, can you take this cup from me? And then right away he said, no, not my will be done, but your will be done. And that to me is the key. Why do we focus so much time on the world system as opposed to the kingdom, his kingdom come, his will be done on earth as it is in heaven? Because the only way we can reach the world system is by reaching the world system. Going and saying, let's have audience with President Trump. Let's have a discussion with President Trump, and let's give him the truth that comes forth from the Word of God. Let's visit our neighbor. Let's visit people and say, the truth is that there's going to be. He said to the taught ones, days shall come when you shall long to see one of the days of the son of Adam, but you shall not see it. And they shall say to you, look here, or look there. Do not go after them, nor follow them. For as the lightning that flashes out of the one part of under heaven shines to the other part of heaven, so shall the son of Adam shall be in his day. But first he has to suffer much and be rejected for this generation. So we've been through that. He's gone through that. So the point I'm trying to make is, why do we spend so much time on trying to, if we're not going to go and have audience with somebody, if we're not going to go and have audience with, say, President Trump or any of the cabinet members, or have audience with them, what is the purpose of trying to decipher that right there? What is the purpose? Because the truth is, again, I think we have a purpose. I think we have a purpose. And I think that we get stirred about certain things that are brought forth in the government. And we say to someone like President Trump, I know you're a very intelligent man. I know you have a lot of wisdom. I have a suggestion for you. I have a suggestion. Do you think that would work?
If you can get audience with them, but very few of us will ever get audience with the president of the United States.
But the thing is, nothing ventured, nothing gained, is what I'm saying.
I would say then for you, go for it.
Well,
I'll be with you when we go visit President Trump either at Mar-a-Lago or Washington, D.C.
Okay, I mean, if I got audience, I would definitely go there, but I'd bring you with me because you have the insight of what you just read. That was something that you discovered. But the point I'm trying to make is, there are things that happen in the world, and there are things that happen in the kingdom. And there are some people that want to make the right choices. They want to do what's right in the eyes of the Father. Like President Trump, I want to be a peacekeeper. I want to be a peacekeeper. That's his main thing. I want to be a peacekeeper. And so the point I'm trying to make is, what value does this do here? I'm just asking the question because, what value does it do other than to surface people that say, I know exactly what you're talking about. I feel the same way. And and it goes like that. There's kind of that kind of, you get angry and you get, you say, this is terrible. This should not be happening. But the point I'm trying to make is, what's the solution? What is the solution
The
to this right
solution
here?
for us is to get into the Word and know exactly what's going on and not be deceived by the enemy. We are in the world, not of the world, but we are in the world. So if we're in the world is around us. We see the world. We can't just ignore it. If we want to ignore it, we should just go buy a house on a mountain somewhere away from everybody.
So so I'm saying, so not to ignore it. So what can you do?
You can discuss it. You can talk about it. You can see. I mean, it's a very interesting.
What can you personally do? We're discussing it right now, but what can we do actually to resolve this is what I'm asking.
We can talk about it.
But I mean, I would like to get. I mean, the truth is, if you have a good suggestion, I would say write it to President Trump, or
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know other than what we're discussing. I mean, this is Let Us Reason Together. We discuss news situations, news issues. We discuss the scriptures. We discuss what's happening. And we wrote a song called Great Expectancy. Luke 17 seemed to go very well with it. So we talk about it. We talk about,
and I think that Luke 17 definitely did it, but I'm trying to connect the dots here and say, if there's a solution to this, if there's a way for some advice to be given to correct this that's in the world system.
So you don't think it's important to discuss the things that are against, like this No Kings protest, like these Antifa protests, like these Black Lives Matter protests that are just destroying this country? Homosexuality.
Does discussion, let me ask you a question though, does discussing it do away with it? That's why
This is a discussion show. So if we don't discuss it, then why don't we just read the scriptures and be done with it?
I'm just asking if it's going to work. If the discussion works, I'm all for it. But if the discussion is just because people are aware of it, aren't they? Are people aware of it?
I doubt it. I doubt it. That people, because it's that 80-20 rule. 80% of the people have no clue what's going on and don't do squat. 20% do.
Okay, let's use an example too of a person that, and I understand what you're saying. I understand your frustration. Charlie Kirk had the same type of zeal, but he did more than discuss it. He went and approached he had interaction with people to bring forth certain truth, to say, have you thought about this? Have you thought about whatever the situation is? So I'm all about, I love discussing it, but then I say, what can we do to have audience with people to so that it can make a difference in the way people think?
We start locally. We start with our town halls. We start with school board committees, meetings. We start with whatever the state and the Senate locally are doing. Attend their meetings. Speak up. Talk about the righteousness, and if that's the way you want to go, that's the way it's a good thing. Does it make a big difference all at once? I don't know, but it's one voice, two voices speaking up. So do we go to these, especially school committee meetings? The schools are a pit of hell. In a lot of the way they teach the children, where they indoctrinate the children in the public schools, even in the charter schools, and you see this kind of stuff all the time. So should you start there? Maybe it's not there, because you're starting now with trying to influence and steer the those committees, maybe to make the right decisions.
So does the law of the land let us do that?
Yeah.
Or we can go to any school and do that?
No, school committee meetings.
Oh, we can go to they'll let any school committee meeting let us in?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Okay. Because I've seen people get thrown out of them. But
but thrown out is but you still went.
Okay.
They may not have liked what you say. And they may stop you and then have you escorted, but that's really illegal to have you escorted from a public forum. But they do it anyway.
Well, I think we should do it then. I think this. I think that we should actually address the
all right,
people
I'll find out when
face
the
on.
next school committee meeting is.
Or go to people that are part of the the state. People that are they can get right to the head of the state and bring forth information to people and say this is if we do our due diligence and find out this is not right, this is illegal for this type of thing to take place.
Yeah, well, that's what we do, because we have Boston is not too far. We can go into Boston,
I'm
into
all
the
for
state
it.
house,
I'm all for
and
it.
have meetings with our congressmen, with our
Okay.
you can even have I don't know if you could. It would have to be when they are in Massachusetts, but the senators, the federal senators, the state, the ones for that who I'm talking about. That would be an interesting meeting. Can we film that one with you and Elizabeth Warren? That would be an interesting meeting.
Yeah. But I'm the thing is that the way I look at it though is, we express the word of God to people on broadcast, and that's great. And then we express what's going on in the government, which is the world system, and so that exposes that. But then I think it needs to take that next step and talk to people and say, have you really thought this through, what's going on here? Do you really believe this is advantageous for the children? Do you think this is advantageous for families? I just think that there's that common sense that and I'm sure the truth is, I hear it all the time being broadcast, that when even quote unquote professional reporters question certain people who are very, very pro-life, pro-Bible, pro-righteousness, they just are totally contrary to righteousness. They just are totally contrary to hear any kind of truth. They don't receive it. I hear we hear it all the time. The thing is, I'm just looking at a place where we can use our time and the truth to bring light to people's hearts. I don't think for 1 minute, to be honest with you, that me talking to Liz Warren would move her any way closer to truth. I just don't think that there would be. I just think she's so locked into her thought process, and her heart is so seared. I've heard it, and I know who she's supporting. I know the people she's supporting. So it's like, why would I'm just talking to me right now. Why would we waste time talking to somebody that they're not even, they have no, there's not even a possibility that they would say, something? I never thought of that, because I know other people have talked to them before.
No, it's true. That's true. And you're right. It would be much more advantageous to go down any city, Boston, whatever, just say Boston for now, and just put up a little sign and table or something, and just talk to Boston, Massachusetts voters, and have a dialogue with them. That would be more advantageous. Mostly 6, 7 out of 10, will not agree with you, but maybe you might get 1 or 2 or 3, and change their thinking process a little bit, and saying, hey, look at what's been happening here in the state of Massachusetts, and we have a Democrat governor, we have a Democrat lieutenant governor, we have 2 federal state senators that are Democrats, and our congressman here, and actually all the congressmen, and we have 9 congressional seats. I think it is. We lost some because we had 11 at the highest, and now we have 9, and all 9 of them are Democrats, even though the state does usually 60, 70% to 30, 40% Republican. So if you go by statistics, even if you went with the higher number, 70% and 30%, you should have at least basically three Republican Congress people in the state of Massachusetts. But because of gerrymandering, which is actually, this is the state that it actually happened in way back in 1800s, you get that kind of a thing, um, and then they all complain about Texas and other places that are looking to redistrict and obtain more Republican seats, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so it'd be better to somehow talk to the voters as opposed to the politicians, because you're right, they're all seared with a hot iron here in Massachusetts, all of them, so that I don't think they're going to go anywhere in terms of their thinking.
Yeah, that's just my thought I mean, because I was listening to that, and I'm like, I'm just listening, and I'm saying, we can hear what's going on, but if we put our television on, our internet on for 1 hour, and we listen to some type of hopefully good news, people that we trust and know that they're righteous. But every time I hear some of the things that are being said and how they're speaking it, I'm saying, boy, I wish I could have audience with them, because I know they want good things to happen. I know they want good things. Actually, what I would love to do is show our video, The Restrainer. I think that, to me, I'd rather publicize The Restrainer so that people understood what a restrainer is.
Yes.
And that, to me, would be a great weapon, and I would like to show it to President Trump. I would like to show The Restrainer to a lot of people, because I believe that would open people's eyes to the spiritual battle we're in.
It would, and maybe we should do it on Israel My Delight.
I think we should. I really do. I think we should, because I think
we'll play it. It's like 35, 40 minutes long, and we can play it right here. So anyone who's listening today or watching this pre on demand, you can certainly come visit us on, what date is that? The 20. What day is it today? I don't even know what day it is.
19th.
19th, so 22nd, right? So 22nd would be the Wednesday at 7:00 p.m. So come and join us for that, and we'll have a discussion on that as quickly as we play it. So I think you're right. It's a good topic. Anything else? Because we're about 3 minutes in. 3 minutes left.
I think I'm like, yes, nothing else.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a lot of work to do. I mean, that article, I didn't agree with everything in the article, but it's interesting, because what is he was comparing. I don't I think the Elohim of the Bible, Yahweh of the Bible, is the same from Genesis all the way to Revelation, not the punishing the wrongdoers in the Old Testament only type of thing. Look at the book of Revelation. Look at a lot of different things. We even read. It's going to be like the days of Noah and all that kind of stuff. But it's to restore order in a broken world, and that's what I think President Trump is trying to do. Is he the one that should be doing it? Totally. Well, he's kind of, in a sense, forced to do it, because no one else has done it.
I applaud him for doing it. I applaud him for wanting to be a peacemaker. I applaud him for loving the United States of America and doing what he's doing. I applaud President Trump. But I do believe that, there's some balance that needs to be brought into what's happening. There's more balance regarding, again, I want to expose him to the restrainer, to show him what exactly is happening. And a lot of people, I don't think, understand what the restrainer is, who the restrainer is, and how it has a major effect on things getting processed or not processed, and it's scriptural. There's the scripture that backs it up 100%.
Amen to that. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Let Us Reason Sunday edition. We just thank you. Don't forget, we have Hidden Voice of Hadassah on Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. and Israel My Delight, which I think we're going to do the restrainer on that at 7 p.m. And then, so until then, shalom, shalom to everyone. And we just greatly appreciate you being here. All right. Shalom, shalom, everyone.
Shalom Aleichem. If you missed today's show or want to watch it again or want to tell someone where they can watch this episode, go to lambnetwork.tv, where you will find this show and all the other live Lamb show archives in the on-demand section of the website. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to tell someone about the Messianic Lamb Network.
Sins are as scarlet, they should be white as snow, white as snow, white wool.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date, progressive teachings, discussions, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the lambnetwork.tv website. I'm James O'Hare, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.
White as snow, white as snow.